Alright, you guys, it took 70 minutes, but Barcelona finally get the job done against Slavia Prague in a game that had both good news and bad news, and we have to talk about it. But first, if this is your first time seeing my video, hi guys, I am JustMax, and on this channel I talk about football, La Liga, UCL, Prem, all of the good stuff, and it's always going to be Visca Barca for me as I am a culé. If this is something that you are interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie. Let's talk about this game, because going into it, we knew that Barcelona had to not only win, but they needed to win well if we were to rise up in the standings. Barcelona are trying to chase that top 8 automatic qualifications in the UEFA Champions League to keep that whole playoff route. We want to get it done quick and easy. So I was predicting somewhere around the 6-0, because again, this is a Slavia Prague that hasn't won a game in the UCL in forever. So boy, was I wrong. Before we go into the depths of this game, let's take a look at the team that Hansi Flick fielded, and then we can talk about what we saw from Barcelona as a whole. Alright, in goal, it was Joan Garcia, who is Barcelona's first choice goalkeeper and has been for the whole of the season. In left back, it was Alejandro Balde, whom I thought he didn't really have an outstanding game, but he didn't have a bad game either. Gerard Martin and Eric Garcia were our centre-back pairing for this game, and even though they did let in 2 goals, I don't think that they had a bad game. Jules Koundé was the right back for Barcelona in this game, and I thought he did okay. When we start to get into the midfield, we see Pedri, and I have to say this is the first game that Pedri, he wasn't entirely brilliant in my opinion. He wasn't shining as much, and culminating it all is that he then gets subbed off with an injury, which we're going to be looking out for to see how bad it is. Preliminary, I thought it was maybe a hamstring, but we don't know yet. Frenkie de Jong was leading this line for Barcelona today, and I thought he had a good game. The only blemish on his game today, I would say, would be the yellow card that he concedes towards the latter stages of this match, which means that he would then miss the final game against Copenhagen, which is a must-win game for Barcelona as well. So already we are looking at a situation where our preferred pivot is not available to us. And then when we start to go into the forward position, Rafinha on the left, and I thought that he did okay coming back from injury. Barcelona was missing him over the weekend when we played and then lost in that upset, which, by the way, if you didn't watch that, please go see my video. I talked about my reactions to that game all in all. Fermin Lopez comes in for Barcelona in the 10th position, and I thought he was magnificent. He was spectacular. He was sensational. And boy, will this video turn into a love letter to Fermin Lopez later on, because he was amazing. And then Rooney Baggi was deputizing for Lamine Yamal, who unfortunately could not play this game because he is having a suspension for having picked up a yellow card in the last match day. He will be available to us in the next match day, of course, barring any injury. And leading the line today was Robert Lewandowski, who comes back into the starting lineup because, of course, Ferran Torres is injured. Now, off the top, I thought that Barcelona started the game out very well. I thought that we could have even taken the lead within the first 6 minutes of the game. Certainly, Fermin Lopez had opportunities where he could have, if he could have just settled himself very well, we would have been 1-0 on 6 minutes. But as Barcelona will say, they don't like to do things very simply, because as I said on TikTok just now, Hansi Flick probably said in his pre-match game to match talk to his players, you know, we're going to go to Slavia Prague. This is a team that have not won a UEFA Champions League match in forever. They've played 19. They've only won 1. You just go in there, go and beat them well, and get all the whole goals as you can, because you need to start pad so that we can climb up in the standings. But what does Barcelona do? They say start padding, easy team. We don't like that. We don't do that. We like to raise the level of difficulty by 5%, 10%, 15%, even 25%. Once it is now really, really hard and very, very dicey, that is when we are able to play our best football, because that's exactly what Barcelona did today. The first goal that Barcelona concede comes directly from a corner, and it was a very, very funny and useless goal. I don't even know how. I've never seen such a finish before. I was confused. At first, I thought, did Joan Garcia make a mistake? But then I just saw the way the player kind of bundles the ball, rolls himself and the ball and everything. Just it's just kind of weird, you know, and it just reminded me of all the bad luck that we were having over the weekend when we played in La Liga, like all the things that we could have gone away but just didn't. And I was like, oh my god, I hope this is not another day of bad luck, because certainly this is kind of a weird game to a weird goal to concede. But that goal that Barcelona conceded, it exposed something for me, and that is that Barcelona are susceptible to corners. Today in this match against Slavia Prague, corners were our major Achilles heel, and every time that a corner was coming through or crossed into the box at all, Barcelona defense never looked comfortable. Fortunately for us, we do have some players who are very, very talented, and no matter the kind of situation, even if the cold is making it unbearable to play, Barcelona will always give their best. And the person to open the scoring for Barcelona today was Fermin Lopez. And when I tell you I love me this player, if you have watched any bit of my videos on here, you would know that I live for Fermin Lopez. I love Fermin Lopez. Fermin Lopez and Rafinha, they are almost untouchable for me. I remember in the summer when Chelsea was trying to sign Fermin Lopez, I was one of the food people on here who kept on shouting at Barcelona that better not get rid of Fermin Lopez, because Fermin Lopez is integral to everything that we are doing in our team, and I live for him. The move that opens the scoring for Barcelona in this game, it comes from a very team move. A little flick from Rafinha to Frankie de Jong opens the door for Frankie de Jong to find Fermin Lopez, who is, the angle is quite acute. I have to mention, the angle is quite acute. And let me tell you something that's so funny about this Fermin Lopez goal for me, was that when I was watching it, the commentator did not realize that Fermin Lopez had scored. That was how acute it was, and it was a near post finish too. There was no reason why Slavia Prague's goalkeeper should have been beat at that near post at the side. He should have had that covered, and I think that is why the commentator was like, oh no, he makes a mess out of it. And then he was like, oh my god, he actually scored. You know, it was so funny for him to be like, he scored. That alone speaks to the level of Fermin Lopez for me. He's one of those players that can make something out of nothing, and at this point I'm thinking that Barcelona are going to go on ahead to play our best football and run away with it. And we certainly, for some time that we were playing some of the best football that we're playing. We definitely have Slavia Prague on the back foot, although I would say that after Barcelona did come back, they did want to go on again to go and score their own goal, maybe to just get a very quick response, something akin to what we saw in the weekend. That was not the case, although it was also, it would end up kind of being the case, but I'll tell you what happened here. Barcelona will end up taking the lead through Fermin Lopez, and this one is a patented trademark Fermin Lopez strike. If you have watched any Lake of Barcelona games, you know that there are some players in Barcelona who want to pass, and then there's Fermin Lopez. He just wants to shoot, and this was exactly what he did today, because the players for Slavia Prague, they just kept on backing away from him, and he said, if you're gonna give me a moment, I'm going to shoot. Do you not know who I am? I am Don Fermin Lopez. They don't used to give me chance to score or to shoot, because I don't used to like deny it. I will take it and I will run with it. And he hits the ball so cleanly. I think there were two defenders in front of him who were backing away from him. Fortunately, he used those two defenders as a dummy to kind of fool the goalkeeper, bend it around the goalkeeper. It was as sweet as a goal as you would ever see from Barcelona. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, let's go. Unfortunately for Barcelona, that lead will only last 2 minutes, which kind of gave me trauma from what we saw over the weekend, and of course, again, what we saw in the Supercopa against Real Madrid. Now, if you're wondering what was that, it's because Barcelona quickly conceded after scoring. Oh yes, and this one too, it comes from a corner, which, as I mentioned, corner kicks in this game were our Achilles heels. This is something that Hansi Flick has to figure out. But like, imagine we come against an Arsenal that their bread and butter is set pieces. We can't do this thing with them, because they will so waterporos us if we play like this. But anyway, going back to that goal from Slavia Prague, it does come off the back of Lewandowski. It was just a very clean corner, it comes off his back, and we are back 2-2, and I'm quite seriously furious about it, because again, it was as if we were allergic to going into the halftime with a lead, and it's as if we're allergic to just winning easily. Of course, coming into the second half, Barcelona did end up making a few changes at different points during the game. We did end up seeing Marc Bernal, Dani Olmo, Marcus Rashford coming for Barcelona. And Marcus Rashford comes in as the impact sub, because again, I thought that Barcelona was seeing a few spaces in that second half, but it just wasn't coming together at the end. In fact, there was a moment there where we were piling on the pressure, almost as if they were all taking turns to shoot, but it just wasn't working out for us to find the back of the net until the ball drops to Dani Olmo, who just kind of takes the ball and just loves everybody, puts it top bins. And I said, this is the blonde Dani Olmo in whom I am well pleased. I live for you. I love you. I don't know what was happening over the weekend, because blonde Dani Olmo was malfunctioning on the weekend, but today blonde Dani Olmo says, I am here. And he puts Barcelona in the lead. And at this moment, all I am begging for Barcelona is, please do not go ahead and concede. Because if history will tell us anything, is that once we go ahead and score, we are at the most vulnerable immediately at the restart. So I just wanted us to hold a little bit and just settle for the next 5 minutes after we score, and then we can see what we do from there. We do go on to add an additional goal courtesy of Robert Lewandowski, which makes it kind of funny because not only did he score an own goal against Barcelona, but he does end up redeeming himself by scoring a goal for Barcelona as well. This time it comes from a well-played cross from Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford just takes the ball to the byline, which is kind of something that's kind of trademark of him at this point. And then he puts a cross. But the most important thing is how Robert Lewandowski reacts to the situation. The ball kind of hits the tie. He then controls the ball very sweetly. The keeper comes out for it, but then he's able to raise his boot and put it well past the goalkeeper. There was an argument for whether or not it was a high boot, but ultimately it was an argument that did not stand because the goal did end up counting for Barcelona. It's 4-2 at 70th minute, and at this moment it ended up becoming cruise control. Slavia Prague, they just didn't have any more fight, any more muster in them to like kind of trouble Barcelona in the way that would change the outcome of the result. It was very clear that Barcelona are going to be getting all 3 points from this match. I did want us to go ahead and score more because, like I mentioned, there is an implication on the table, on the current standings in the UEFA Champions League. So it was my hope that Barcelona will go ahead and then score a few more goals, which would then, bring up our goal difference against PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea, and maybe put us in a more favorable position because PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea, Barcelona, and Sporting, we are all on the same points. What's separating us right now from PSG, who is in 6th position, and Barcelona, who is in 9th position, is the goal difference. And not just the goal difference, but the goals conceded as well. One of the things that Barcelona must address is the level at which we concede. I hoped actually that we would go ahead and then score a few more goals to kind of raise up that goal difference, so maybe we could go into 6th or 7th position. That did not happen today. Newcastle did end up winning their game with a clean sheet, and so does Chelsea. So right now Barcelona are sitting in 9th position in the table. The good news is that we're still in contention for top 8. There's still a game to play, and hopefully, we're able to sneak into it. The bad news is Pedri is injured. He did end up coming off, I want to say, at the 65th minute, give or take, and it kind of looks like a hamstring injury. I don't even think he was playing his best football, as I mentioned earlier in this video, but we know that we are heavily reliant on Pedri, and when Pedri doesn't play for Barcelona, it's usually very, very dicey. But to add salt onto injury is the fact that Frankie de Jong has also picked up a yellow card, which now means that he misses the next game. So going up against Copenhagen, we're going to be having to go in there with a new look midfield, which kind of makes an already difficult task in terms of that building that goal difference up even harder. But I have no doubt that Barcelona are going to be able to get the job done. It's where the cards will fall at the end of the day that's kind of looking very, very unclear at the moment. But anyway, this was a good win. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section. Who stood out for you? For me, as you all know, my best player today was Fermin Lopez. I live for him because he lifted us when we needed it. But let me know who was yours in the comment section and what stood out to you. And if you have watched my video up until this point, please like, subscribe, share, and of course leave me a comment. But until next time,